at home, stay at home has been the clarion call to get Kenyans to restrict themselves to their confines of their homes as the government moves to curb the spread of the coronavirus. But these calls to stay home and limit movement have not been adhered to by a section of Kenyans who were seen going about their Sunday duties disregarding preventive measures put in place by the World Health Organization. We're going to be joining me now live is our very own Faisal Ahmed, who is down in the CBD on Moi Avenue. Faisal, talk to us. What's happening right now?
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. As maybe my cameraman can pan behind me and show you, the city fire engines are being used to fumigate and disinfect the buildings here around Moi Avenue area. There are multiple trucks around this particular area that are fumigating and disinfecting the buildings at the same time, trying to disinfect the virus using chlorine and other chemicals that will be used to try and cut down the spread of this particular disease. I talked a few moments ago to the person in charge of this operation, who is the deputy director for the health department in the county, and he told us that these are some of the measures that they're employing to try and reduce the risk of further infection going forward. These trucks have been doing these rounds from around 7 p.m. When the streets were cleared. And just to mention, Jeff, there's a mixture of tear gas and the fumes from the chlorine here along Moi Avenue, an indication that the police officers had a bit of had a rough time trying to clear out crowds that had gathered around the street, and also who were trying to make it home in good time to beat the curfew. However, we did try and speak to a few street children to see how they're getting along and maybe how they're coping with this. We tried and requested some of them to talk to us, but they were a bit camera shy. And what they told us is that life has been a bit hard for them, and they are currently even unable to get a meal a day because, as you understand, the curfew was informed and non-essential services were suspended from working in offices, and people were encouraged to work at home, minimizing the number of people who are coming to town, and also that in turn minimizes the number of people who give them handouts and buy them food and such. So they're actually complaining about the dire situation that they're in. Most of them are sleeping inside the Jivanji garden, which is a few meters behind me, and they're a bit, for lack of a better word, in a miserable state, just to say. But as you can see, the county vehicles are busy at work trying to fumigate and disinfect the buildings behind us. We'll keep you up to date on this story as it continues to develop. Earlier on in the day, I was here along this particular street and other parts of the CBD, trying to find, trying to look at how Kenyans are coping with the new regulations. And you will be surprised to see that people don't even understand what social distancing is. They don't want to wash their hands, they don't want to sanitize, and the designated spots in which there are sanitizers, sinks set up by the national government for people to wash hands, there was no soap. So that story will be coming up next, just trying to shed a light on what people are doing despite the measures that were outlined by the government and in turn by the World Health Organization. Jeff.
The one key success factor in this whole thing, whether you talk about lockdown, whether you talk about curfew, is changed behavior.
It has been a rallying call from the government to Kenyans since the coronavirus outbreak became a pandemic. With the numbers soaring by the day, it is a message to try and stop community spreading. But adherence to the basic regulations appears a tall order by some Kenyans.
The World Health Organization has issued a raft of measures that will aid individuals in not contracting the COVID-19 virus. Key among them being washing of hands regularly and thoroughly at this government-designated hand washing point in the middle of the CBD. Yes, there is running water, but there is no soap. The other recommendation is social distancing. But are we really following that through?
At midday, Police officers within the Central Business District were forced to go around and literally remind people on how to social distance themselves, and in some cases forced people to disperse altogether. In some of the designated hand-washing points put up by the government, hand-washing activity was minimal due to lack of soap. Some Kenyans appear to have thrown caution into the wind. The advice by the president to use mobile money in place of cash to reduce the spread of the virus is yet to take off. Matatus and other small businesses are still using cash in their transactions. The World Health Organization recommends regularly and thoroughly cleaning your hands with an alcohol-based hand rub or wash them with soap and water. Maintain at least a meter of distance between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing. Avoid touching your eyes, mouth and nose. Make sure you and the people around you follow good respiratory hygiene. And finally, if you have a fever, cough or any difficulty breathing, seek medical care early. Faisal Ahmed, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Faisal still with us downtown on Moi Avenue, Nairobi. Faisal, I noticed there was a border guy who passed you a moment ago. Are people adhering to this curfew right now, or are there still people in the streets here and there?
Maybe judging from this, okay, this is a security vehicle that is about to drive past us. That particular boda that you saw also belonged to a private security firm. The only vehicles that are in and around the CBD are only private security firm vehicles and police officers. We've not come across any civilian or vehicles that are currently on the roads or outside. Even the street kids that I was talking about earlier had placed themselves inside the park, the Jivanji Gardens, there to sort of like try and stay in one place and avoid being all over the place, and also getting in conflict with the police officers. So no, there are actually no individuals or vehicles in and around the area of the CBD.